Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you with another What's Next, and this is going to be the last What's Next for a while because I'll have covered all fighters in all 12 divisions. I did the tally the other day, and that's 125 videos on the top 10 fighters from each division, from 122 to 200 to heavyweight. This one is on the undefeated WBC heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury. Fury is my number one heavyweight in the world right now. He is coming off of his career best win in February. Well, yeah, I think it was his career best win. His rematch and 7th round TKO of Deontay Wilder to capture the heavyweight title for a second time. Fury's... He has a mandatory third fight due with Deontay Wilder. They have to fight again, and for the first time in any big fight, Fury's going in the favorite. I say that because he's had 3 major fights in his career, major fights, to where everybody was paying attention. The first one was against Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. He came in a heavy underdog in that fight and pulled off the ugly unanimous decision win to capture the unified heavyweight title. Then he came in the underdog against Deontay Wilder in December of 2018 and should have walked out with a decision victory. He got knocked down a couple times, but they called it was controversially scored a draw, and he didn't win the title. But in the fight in February of this year, he took on Wilder, came in the underdog again. A lot of people, myself included, felt Wilder had gotten better since their first fight and more aggressive and was going to knock Fury out. And Fury flipped it on everybody and dominated Deontay and knocked him out. And I was very impressed with that. So, all that being said, what does that mean now going forward? Does Wilder, after the third fight with... can he win the third fight is the big question. Can he beat Deontay Wilder? Fury, can he beat Wilder in the third fight, coming in the favorite this time? I absolutely think so. I think he's won out of their 19 rounds together. They fought almost a complete 19 rounds. Of those 19 rounds, I feel like Fury's won, probably 16 to 17 of those rounds. I even feel that round where he technically, you'd have to call him losing the round in the 12th round of their second fight, you'd have to say he lost that round, right? Because he got knocked down, but I feel like he did more damage. I feel like he was doing all right. He got caught and put down hard, but then he came back, and I feel like he almost knocked out Wilder. I feel like another 30 seconds or a minute in that round, or if that fight goes to 13th round, I think he stops Wilder. But that being said, I think he's going to be a sizable favorite going into the third fight. I think he does beat Wilder in the third fight. Now, what is he going to do after that, though? Because we already know what he's doing next. What does he do after that? Well, excuse me. I know people want to see him and Anthony Joshua, but that's not going to happen. And if they want to hold on, if they want to plan for an undisputed title fight, that's all 4 titles, and hold on to those belts until that's possible, that's not going to happen. And here's why. Dillian Whyte is the WBC's interim champion right now, and he is due a mandatory title shot by February of 2021. Wilder and Fury 3 is not going to happen until at least the fall. So the winner is going to have to face Dillian Whyte next to hold on to that world title. The WBC, they're fucking corrupt as shit, and they definitely could change that, but that's, to my understanding, that's what has to happen next for Tyson Fury. He has to face Dillian Whyte. I think he will. I think he'll beat Dillian Whyte, either stop him or dominate him over 12 and retain the title. And he'll be walking out of that. So those are the next 2 fights, Wilder and then Dillian Whyte. And so what does he do next after that? Let's run through the top 10 now and see what's next for Tyson Fury after Wilder and after Dillian Whyte. We'll start with Fury's number 1. Number 2 is the 2-time unified heavyweight champion, Anthony Joshua. Is a showdown with Joshua for the undisputed title possible after all that? Absolutely. That's what I think is going to happen, to tell you the truth. Fury, he gets rid of Dillian Whyte as a mandatory, he's wide open for the fight. Anthony Joshua is also doing the same thing. He's fighting his IBF mandatory next in Kurbet Pulev. He's got him in his next fight. After that, he's going to likely face Alexander Usyk. That's his WBO mandatory challenger. And I think he beats him as well. After that, I think all the governing bodies, it's going to be wide open. I think they'll allow these two guys to collide for the undisputed heavyweight crown. All 4 belts would be on the line. It's a United Kingdom fight, but honestly, by now, Joshua's a huge name, and Fury's definitely a huge name. This is maybe the biggest fight to make in boxing right now, and I absolutely think these guys are going to be facing off after Fury's done with Wilder and Whyte. I think it's Fury versus Joshua. Not a hard fight to make, and maybe DAZN and ESPN got to come to some kind of understanding and get the fight done, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, and I definitely think it could happen. Okay, so number 3, by this point next year, number 3 is Deontay Wilder, the former heavyweight champ. This would be a 4th fight between these two. Is it possible for these guys to fight a 4th time after Fury's done with Dillian Whyte? It really depends on how the 3rd fight goes. I mean, if Fury soundly beats Wilder again, but even if he beats him by a close one, is he going to be considering Wilder for a 4th fight? I mean, it's a big money fight. Unless there's some big time controversy, I just don't see it, to be honest. I guess he could consider him, and they've worked out the deals before, but if he soundly beats him, which I think Fury's probably gonna soundly beat Fury. Wilder. I'm not saying he's gonna knock him out like he did in the 3rd fight, but I definitely think he'll probably take a convincing decision. And if that happens, is he gonna need to face Wilder a 3rd time? I just don't see it. I mean, a 4th time, I'm not seeing it by that point. So I'm gonna lean towards a no. Number 4 is a showdown with Andy Ruiz. Well, if Joshua passes, one second. Excuse me. If Joshua passes on that fight, or that fight can't be made between him and Fury, and Andy Ruiz is still sitting there, then yeah, I think the fight's possible for sure. I mean, why not? Andy Ruiz is a big name now. He's a former unified heavyweight champ. And he would probably be a sizable underdog and a big name. So I think Fury would probably fight him if Ruiz is still standing, because Ruiz is talking about fighting Luis Ortiz at some point. And man, I don't know if he beats Luis Ortiz. So definitely a possibility. After that is number 5 is Luis Ortiz. I think him and Fury may be possible, but Ortiz has been knocked out twice against Wilder. He's a risk, and he's not a huge name on a worldwide level, so I think Fury's going to look at it that way and go, why bother? Do I need this fight? So I'm going to say no. Number 6 is Alexander Usyk. I mean, I doubt it. In my opinion, Usyk's going to be coming off his first loss to Anthony Joshua, and it's not a huge fight, between these two, so I don't see it. But I mean, it could happen if Usyk were to upset Joshua, though. That's possible. Excuse me. If Usyk were to upset Joshua and capture the unified heavyweight title, and there's no rematch clause in the contract, him and Tyson Fury would likely be next for the undisputed title. I don't think it's what Fury would want to do. I think he wants Joshua, but I think it's what it could still happen. It's conceivable. It still could happen. So we'll see. Number 7 is Dillian Whyte, the WBC interim heavyweight champion. I mean, by this point, I think it'd be a rematch, because I already got him facing Dillian Whyte after Wilder, after the 4th Wilder fight, or the 3rd Wilder fight. I'm sorry. I mean, would he face Dillian Whyte in a rematch? I mean, if Whyte were to upset Fury, I mean, yeah, I think the rematch clause would probably be in the contract. And if Fury were to barely beat Whyte, this is an all United Kingdom showdown, and he can't work out a deal with Anthony Joshua, yeah, why not? I mean, it's definitely possible, could happen, and I wouldn't rule that out at all. So definitely, I think these guys could fight, in a rematch, but I'm leaning towards the less likely, because I think Fury's going to soundly beat Whyte. Number 8 is former heavyweight champ Joseph Parker. Not seeing it. Yeah, by that point, I don't think Parker's going to have done enough to where he's going to pose a threat, or it's a fight that Fury would have to take, even if Joshua passes. He passes on the fight. I just don't see it. I think Fury will have much better options with bigger names, so I don't see that one. The 3-way tie for 9th right now. First up, former heavyweight champ Alexander Povetkin. I think Povetkin's going to get beat by Dillian White, and you know, maybe retire depending on how he loses. But I definitely don't think he's going to be in the running for Tyson Fury, so I'm going to say no. Former world title challenger Michael Hunter, not seeing it. I think Hunter might have lost the fight by then, but even if he doesn't, he's not a big enough name, so I'm going to lean towards a no. And then finally, tied for 9th is Kubrat Pulev, former world title challenger. Leaning towards, no, I think Pulev might retire after he gets knocked out against Anthony Joshua later this year. So I don't see it. So that's it for the top 10 against Tyson Fury. What do I think is going to happen? I really believe wholeheartedly that him and Anthony Joshua have to work out a deal to get that fight done. And that's going to be the next one. I think it's Wilder. I think it's Dillian White in a mandatory title fight. And then I think it's Anthony Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight title. So I really, really believe that's what's going to go down, and I hope it does, because that's going to be huge for boxing to have to declare an undisputed heavyweight champion. You know, it really will be. And yeah, that's what I think is going to go down. So that's the what's next on Tyson Fury. That's the last what's next for the time being. I hope you enjoyed all these guys. I love doing it. I worked hard on it, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. But look forward to Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3. That's coming up soon. They'll be doing it again. So make sure you're paying attention. All right, guys, that's it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.